So I'll type in here, send an email to Bruce Wayne asking his availability for next week. And we'll go ahead and send. All right, so what's happening behind the scenes? The system recognized that it came in as a text. It then sends the request to the personal assistant. The personal assistant identifies this is an email task, so it finds the contact information from my contact database. It then hit Notion. Then it routes the action to the email agent who drafts the email and prepares to send it. And then it's going to go back to Telegram and send me a response from the agent. And so our response, and there we go. We have the email has been sent to Bruce Wayne asking about his availability for next week.
Ever feel like your brain is juggling 20 tabs at once? Emails, reminders, bills, goals, even random ideas, all fighting for space. This was me, and sometimes still is. And then I realized my brain was not built to store everything, but systems are. Before I show you this system in action, I want to be very clear about something. The idea of a second brain did not come from me. This journey started from personal stress, trying to juggle work, family, ideas, follow-ups, and realizing my mind was just not the best place to store everything. That search led me to a book, Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. From there, I found an interview with Tiago and Thomas Frank, where they showed how a second brain could actually live inside Notion. Then, AI entered the picture. I discovered Nate Herk on YouTube, whose step-by-step videos showed how AI agents could actually take action using automations like N8N. Here's the important part. None of this is proprietary to me. I didn't invent anything. We already have the tools: notes apps, reminders, AI, calendar. But if tools alone were enough, then why are we still overwhelmed? Still forgetting things, still dropping the ball, and still drowning in tasks? It's because tools alone don't create productivity. Systems do. Having a notes app doesn't mean you retain anything, and having reminders doesn't mean you follow through. Having AI doesn't mean anything changes unless it's connected to an action. The real problem isn't that we lack apps. The problem is the friction created when we have to manually put things in the right place, remember where we put it, search for it later, and then decide what to do with next. So I connected the dots. I personalized the tools that already exist and turned them into one system that captures thoughts, organizes them, and tells me what to do next automatically. It's not more tools, it's fewer decisions. And once you remove the friction, you reclaim clarity. Now, let me take you behind the scenes. I connected Notion with an automation platform called N8N and built a personal assistant that thinks, plans, and acts. Let me show you what it does live.
All right, what you're looking at here is N8N. Now, I am not a coder. I'm not a software or a systems engineer, so I can understand how this may look a tad bit overwhelming initially. But I did this with no code, again, thanks to Nate Herk. And we're going to go ahead and break this down. This is a workflow, which is just a sequence of actions usually initiated by a trigger. In my case, this workflow serves as the operations layer of my second brain system here in N8N. Think of this like a small company where at the front we have our input or trigger, Telegram. I can use this on my desktop, but majority of the time I'm using Telegram on my phone. And this would serve as the front desk, okay? The switch that you see here just checks how the messages came into Telegram and routes them correctly. So I can type or I can use voice to text depending on what's fastest in the moment. Nothing fancy, we're just removing friction here, okay? Next is the AI agent, and this is the brain of the operation layer in N8N. But but I like to think of it as the heart of the entire system. The AI agent is like the project manager in a sense. It doesn't do the work itself, it decides who should do the work. So the request comes from the front desk and goes to the project manager, who has its own set of instructions or job description. And based on the job description I gave it, it knows what agent to use for the specific input given. And you can see it knows, it's like my second brain, and it knows what tools it has access to as well. Also, it has access to my databases, like my contact database, and the ability to delegate to other agents. Right? And so again, based on the job description I gave it, it knows when to utilize the database given, when to call on each specific agent, and gives a response back to me via Telegram. And of course, I used ChatGPT to come up with this entire description. Behind the scenes, it's using Windows buffer memory, which is like a short-term chat memory, so I'm not reiterating thoughts inside the chat. And we also have a vector memory, which is like a knowledge base. Think of like a long-term, so it uses memory and context, so it understands what I mean, not just what I type. Each of these workflows is like an employee with a single job. So we have our email, calendar, Notion, search agent. Think of these like SMEs, and the main agent decides which one to call. Let me show you one of them. And we're gonna, yes, we do want to save this. We're gonna go to our sub workflow folder. And again, a workflow is just a sequence of actions. And so keeping with that same definition, a sub workflow is a sequence of actions usually triggered by a parent workflow. And so in this case, our parent workflow or our AI agent or our project manager triggered the sub workflow to complete a task, then to give back to the parent workflow. Sticking with the project manager analogy, this is like a project manager giving a task to the subject matter expert. That subject matter expert using their expertise to complete the task and then handing the task back to the project manager. Same concept. So this is one of the sub workflows. This is the email agent, and its only responsibility is email. Again, when it's triggered by the parent workflow, this sub workflow will then execute and do its task. And it also has its own set of instructions or job description here as well, and has access to my email and other tools through Gmail. And we can give this agent other abilities within the N8N build out. Through Gmail, things like we can mark a message as read, we can reply to a message, tag a message. We have a lot of options within N8N to give our email agent here, all right? So I'm going to run through a few examples. Same assistant, same system, different actions. All right, so we'll jump over here to Telegram, and let's just start with something simple that most people do every day, email. So I'll type in here, send an email to Bruce Wayne asking his availability. Ooh, if I can spell availability. For next week. And we'll go ahead and send. So right now, I have this workflow in test mode. And the reason I'm doing this is in test mode, the different nodes will light up as they're used. And typically we use this for troubleshooting. So if there's a problem, we can see where the breakdown happened. When a workflow is active, the nodes won't light up and it'll just go automatically. So in doing this, we have to press execute workflow each time. Now again, when the workflow is active, you wouldn't have to press this. It'll just run, okay? All right, so what's happening behind the scenes? The system recognized that it came in as a text. It then sends the request to the personal assistant. The personal assistant identifies this is an email task, so it finds the contact information from my contact database. It then hit Notion. Then it routes the action to the email agent who drafts the email and prepares to send it. And then it's going to go back to Telegram and send me a response from the agent. And so we have our response here. I've drafted an email to Bruce Wayne asking for his availability for next week. Hi, Nick. I hope you're doing well. Could you please let me know your availability for next week? All right. Please confirm. So we're glad that it gave us this message back. We didn't even write this email. It came up with the email on its own via ChatGPT. So we can go ahead and type, go ahead and send the email, and we'll send it over back to Telegram. And we do have to press execute workflow again in this case. And so look, no switching apps, no copying emails, no context lost. All we're doing is a delegating task, right? So again, hitting that contact database, we're going into Notion, and it already formulated the email, so it most likely won't hit that email agent again. And then it goes to Telegram to give us our response. And so our response, and there we go. We have the email has been sent to Bruce Wayne asking about his availability for next week. And it also added the task in Notion. And so we appreciate the fact that the agent sent us back the response via Telegram, but we want to know if it actually completed the task. So we're going to go over to our email, and we are going to go to our send. Okay, well, let's refresh real quick and see if the email was sent out. We want to make sure that the task was actually completed. And here we go. There it is. Availability for next week. Click on this here, and we can read it again here. It was sent. It has the correct email in there. And again, we didn't come up with this message at all. We simply just put the input in and it was sent out. This email agent can also fetch emails. For instance, it was just Christmas and I ordered a few items on Amazon. And instead of me scrubbing through my emails or having to remember if that notification from Amazon said shipped or delivered, we'll just ask the agent to do it. So we'll go and say, look through my emails to see if Amazon delivered the picture frame. There we go. We'll send that off. And so this time we want it to hit the email agent again to fetch emails. And it's looking specifically from emails from Amazon. And then it should respond to us with the status of where the picture frame is. And so there we go. The picture frame you ordered was delivered on Amazon on December the 23rd. And it was left at your door. And it even gives us a code for the frame as well. Now let's schedule a meeting with Bruce Wayne. So we'll say schedule a meeting with Bruce Wayne for Saturday at 3 p.m. All right, we'll go ahead and click on over. So same system, different employee this time. So it's still going to hit my Notion agent. I have it set up where everything goes through Notion. And it will also trigger my calendar agent as well. And so the calendar agent understands time, people, and intent. And it puts every event exactly where it belongs. All right. Cool. So let's see. Let's go back over to Telegram. And there we go. The meeting with Bruce Wayne has been scheduled for this Saturday, December 27th at 3 p.m. And an invitation has been sent to his email. Also, you created a task in Notion as well too. And so again, we love the fact that we get this response in Telegram, but we want to ensure that the task was actually completed. So let's go over here to our Google Calendar, and boom, we can see right there. The meeting with Bruce Wayne was scheduled for this Saturday at 3 p.m. You can open it up here as well. And so I don't manage dates, I only manage decisions. Now, let's do something more complex. Let's move from action to structure. You'll notice this workflow hits the Notion agent almost every time, and that's intentional because Notion is where everything lives for me. NAN is the operating system. It handles automation, triggers, and movement. Notion is the brain, where my notes, tasks, projects, routines, and objectives live. Okay, so let's have our assistant create a project within Notion with tasks under it. So we'll come in here, we'll say, create a new project called Prep Time for Batman with tasks to reload the utility belt, if I can spell utility, and charge the EV Batwing because we're eco-friendly over here. So we'll go ahead and send that. And here, the assistant will know to hit the Notion agent. And it also should register that it isn't just a task, it's a project. And so a project is a temporary endeavor with a definite beginning and end. And a task is a specific actionable unit of work that makes up a project. All right. So it's going to create the project and assign the task and place everything into my second brain in Notion here. So let's go back to Telegram, see what it says. So here we go. The project Prep Time for Batman has been created in Notion, and it includes the following tasks. Reload the utility belt and charge the EV Batwing because we are eco-friendly. So let's click on one of these here. Reload the utility belt. We're going to open it as well. And so this is all powered by a structured Notion system. Thanks to Thomas Frank again. And here we are, reload the utility belt. All right. And it even gave it a due date as well too, for December the 27th, 2025. All right. And so as this loads up, you can see a little bit of my Notion build out. We can go over here to Life OS, and Life OS would be what I would consider to be my landing page where my notes, tasks, projects all live within this page right here. And we could even see our task was put in right here, charge the EV Batwing right there. And then reload the utility belt was also put in there as well with our dates. And we can scroll down a little bit more. You see some notes in there. And then we also see the project. Boom. Prep Time for Batman is in there as well too. And so, like I said, this is Notion. It's pretty built out. I might even do a follow-up video talking about the Notion build out. Let's do a bonus. So most people use ChatGPT to search information. They get it, and then that information just lives in their search history. So this system is going to turn information into action. All right. So I like to consider myself to be a student of Marcus Garvey, but let's say I'm not sure of his birthday and I want to celebrate next year. So let's go in here and say, find Marcus Garvey's birthday and add a reminder to my calendar for next year. All right, let's go ahead and send this. So this is where things really click. The assistant is going to hit Notion first. Then it's going to use the search agent to look up the information. Then it's going to confirm the information and turns knowledge into action by automatically setting the date on my calendar. So it's going to hit a few different agents in this demonstration. And so we see that right there. Then it's going to send the response back. And let's see what we got. And so here we are. Marcus Garvey's birthday is on August the 17th. So we got the information. Not only that, I added a reminder to your calendar, August 17th, 2026, to help you remember. And then additionally, we created a task in Notion. And again, so cool. We love that they gave the response. Let's actually check if this was completed. So we're going to go to our calendar. We're going to scroll over to August. And lo and behold, we have his birthday saved on August 17th right here. See, this is the gap most people never close. Knowing something versus acting on it, right? And we can even see in Notion that it did add their birthday reminder as well.
So for me, this isn't really about automation. It's about mental space. It's about not carrying everything in my head and trusting that when a thought does come up, it has a place to go. This doesn't make decisions for me. This doesn't take actions for me. I still have to show up. But what it does do is remove the friction between thinking and doing. It helps me move past overthinking, second guessing, and that feeling of being busy but not moving forward. Ideas don't disappear anymore. Tasks don't get lost, and follow-ups don't just live in the back of my mind. They live in the system. And yes, technology will change, new tools will come out, and AI will keep evolving. And that part excites me because this isn't a finished product. It's a foundation, one that I can keep improving, adapting, and building as things evolve. For now, this gives me clarity, momentum, and freedom to focus on what matters. And that's enough to keep going. If you stayed this long, then hopefully you found some value out of this video. What I would find valuable is if you liked the video or you left a positive comment. Appreciate you.